Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. I'm Momo Mikolawole. I'm the co-founder of Frontline Learning Center. We're actually the host of this meeting. I'm so glad to have you joining us. Now, before we proceed, can we have in the chat where you are joining us from? Can we have that in the chat? Your designation and where you are joining us from. So maybe quick one, head of school from Lagos, head of school from Abuja, things like that. So let's just have that in the chat. We'll do that for next 1 minute. Let's put where we are joining from the chat. Just that introduction, our designation, and where we are joining from. And I believe you can hear me loud and clear. Okay. I'm beginning to see. So we have the head of school from Ogun State, Ijebu. Okay. We have someone from Aja. Then let's have more. So let's put our designation and where we are joining from in the chat, because that will actually help us to actually tailor the meeting to meet our needs, because the training is actually not about us, it's about meeting our needs. Okay, my name is Omo Mikolaole. I'm the co-founder of Frontline Learning Center that is organizing this training. I'm getting a response that the volume is low. Can someone else confirm that the volume is low? Is that the case? Can you hear me loud and clear? Can I see a confirmation in the chat? Can you hear me loud and clear? Let me get that information. Yes. Okay, Miss Peace, you might want to adjust your maybe internet settings, or maybe it's coming from your phone. I think others can hear me loud and clear. All right, so I'm so excited to have us uh, join us in this meeting. It's been a journey that we started from the beginning of the year. That was since January. We started a series on intentional. And what brought about this series is actually based on the title. The series comes, the title, this vision came on board as a result of also being intentional at the start of the year. As a personal uh, routine, at the beginning of each year, I write down my goals, you know, along with my family, sit down, we plan, write down the goals. So one of my one of the goal for Frontline Learning Center is actually for us to build people to actually also help to improve the education ecosystem. You know, give access to training that people do not have to pay for, but such training actually valuable. So uh, I've been able to speak with colleagues, mentors who are very good, who are experts in their areas of calling to actually join me on this vision of so the theme is intentional. In January, we had a training. The title was Best Practices in Early Years Setting. Then last month, February, we had Incorporating 21st Century Learning Themes in Lessons. Then this month, we are having Getting Intentional with 21st Century School Administrator. Our guest for today, our speaker for today, is a seasoned school administrator that will be able to do justice to training. So let's make sure we stay connected. Let me quickly say a bit about what we do at Frontline Learning Center. As a person, I have expertise in the curriculum, effective curriculum delivery, talking about the curriculum of the 21st century, one of which is the Cambridge IGCSE and the like. So organize trainings on how to effectively deliver this, and we also organize onboarding training for teachers, for school, the resumption training. We do all of this. So before I bring on our facilitator. So let me quickly read her bio. So Nancy Ekwezu is an accomplished education and management consultant and a highly regarded life coach with 30 years of experience in the education sector. She has served as an administrator in 4 reputable schools across Nigeria before venturing into education and management consulting. She is the founder of a Facebook group titled National Administration Network, where she shares valuable content on school administration, management, and personal development. As an author, Nancy has written 5 books, including Dear Educator, The School Administrator's Companion, Effective House, Boarding House Administration, and The School Storekeeper's Companion, in addition to several ebooks. Currently, she is the lead consultant and trainer at Pezu Smith Consulting. She has spoken at several reputable platforms, including a TEDx talk and international conferences and summits. Nancy has received numerous recognition for her educational contribution locally and internationally. As a coach, Nancy empowers individuals to push beyond their comfort zone and become better versions of themselves. She's an alumnus of the Olushola Lanre Coaching Academy. And of course, before the end of the training, we'll share how we can get some of our resources. Because I must tell you, I've actually had access to some of our resources. I've taken some of our online courses. I've read 2 of our books. That's Dear Educator and that on school administration. So it's something I would definitely recommend for any one of us. He's very, experienced when it goes to matters on school administration. So now the question, before I bring up, why have we chosen this topic? What does it mean to be intentional? This topic is actually coming at the right time. At such a time like this, we live in a distracted world, such that if we are not intentional, it will be very difficult to stay focused. Very, very difficult. So being intentional means we are acting with a sense of purpose and direction. And school administrator, we are wonderful people. School administrator, you are very, very wonderful people. You are special breed because you chart the direction for a school. You actually, you are an architect of possibility. As they say that everything rises and fall on leadership. As a matter of fact, you solve problems that you did not even create. So school administrators actually are wonderful breed. So without much ado, I would like us to welcome our seasoned trainer that will be talking to us this afternoon, in person of Nancy Ekwezu. So let's just give her a warm welcome in the chat. So now you have the floor. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. So you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so delighted to be here already. I'm really delighted. Can we say I'm excited to be here? Let me hear your comments, because honestly, I'm coming to just give all that I have within the limited time. Will you tell me how long I have? But because when I start talking about school administration, time is immaterial to me. And so I'll just be starting right away. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Omobumi. I really appreciate this for giving me your platform to share on something which is very important to me. Okay, if you have been following me, you know that I breathe administration and management, and that has been the core of what I am known for. Okay, thank you so much. I can see we're just 11 of us. It's not a bad idea if you can share the link with your colleagues and friends and others in school administration on the groups you belong to, so that they can come up here. Perhaps they didn't set a reminder on their phones. Victoria says you're welcome, ma. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, Praise says you're welcome, ma'am. Thank you. Also, before now, how many of you actually know about me or follow my work? Just say yes in the comments. I follow what you do. I'm going to start sharing my slides, by the way, because I do not think we have all the time in the world. Okay. I'm going to start sharing right away. Right away. So I'm going to start sharing right away, right away, right away, right away. Okay. Okay, Victoria says I don't follow you, but I would love to. Okay, so the topic is getting intentional about 21st century school administration. Getting intentional. I like what Omori said about being intentional. Being deliberate. You know, some people can just get a school administration job and just do it anyhow. You know how we say Lagos, shagba shagba, you know, just doing it anyhow. We're not talking about doing school administration anyhow. We're talking about being intentional, being deliberate, being purposeful about it, and particularly about all of the changes that have occurred recently in 21st century administration. Okay. So this is my style. I need you to have your notepad without copying the slides, okay? Just listen and then interact, make intercourse, make a close relationship with what I'm going to say and relate it to your situation. And if along the way something jumps at you, just note it down for action. You should never attend a webinar, a training, or anything at all without you having actionable points. It's not enough to clap for me at the end of this and say, well done, man, give me all the emojis. No. Until you can take something home to have chance that man is not just here to inform, yet pure me. That have. Topic is getting intentional about 21st century administration. And if you can see the slides, please say yes and see the slides. If you can see the slides, let me know. Can you see the slide? See the slide. Hello. Slide.
Not yet. I think oh, okay. She's no longer in the meeting. I thought I was the one affected that initially. Okay, okay, okay. She'll be back. Yeah, she's no. I think internet has kicked her out of the meeting. Okay, apologies for that. She will be back. But while we are waiting for her to be back, like I was saying about being intentional, I mentioned the fact that it means having a clear sense of purpose and direction. And that will mean that we'll be deliberate or make Yes, yes, it's true that the connection is bad. We'll be deliberate about things we do, which has to be in alignment with our beliefs, aspiration, and our values. As a school administrator, we have to have uh, core values. So, of course, there will be the school will have its own core values, and we will equally have our personal core values. Because the truth is, when you talk about values, it's about what we stand for, what each of us stand for as a person, and then what we also stand for as a school. Because if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. Okay, you are welcome. I think that was we noticed that the internet connectivity was quite poor. So you are muted.
Hear
Okay.
me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened because I actually had tested all the gadgets and everything was fine before I started. So let me share
It happens.
again. Can you
It's
see the
clear now.
slide now? Can you see the slide?
Not okay. It's about. It's come. Yes, we can see now. Yes,
You
we can
can
see
see
it
the
now.
slide, huh?
Yes.
Okay, it's coming on. I don't see the slide at all.
We can see it. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I just wanted to be sure. I'm so sorry about that glitch. Okay, I hope you'll be able to edit that out. So the topic is getting intentional about 21st century school administration. And I started by saying that I really love what Umi said about intentionality, about being intentional, being deliberate, being purposeful. So without further ado, I'm going to go on because we've lost a little time to that glitch. So welcome to the class. And this is a bit about me, which he has already said, so I will not be going through there. These are actually the places you can connect with me right away. And if I were you, I'll take a snapshot of this because it will not be available to the session. So you can quickly take a snapshot of that, or at least write down my website. My website is in my name anyway, so that you can remember. Okay, these are awards I got recently, 100 admired people in education in 2021, and also a global educational influencer. That's me somewhere there. Okay, these are some of the books I've written: The Storekeeper's Companion, Effective Boarding House Administration, Dear Educator, the School Administrator's Companion. So very quickly, we're going on to the objectives now, okay? Basically, we are here to understand the purpose and importance of intentional administration in a school system. We'll also identify some of the challenges that 21st century school administrators encounter. And then you'll be able to define school administration and how you can improve things in your own peculiar setting. By now, I believe that you have your journal, you have a pen to take down points that jump at you. You've also come with a good attitude and to participate and learn. Try not to copy the slides and keep your phone on silent mode to avoid distractions. And what you do with your jotter and your pen is that when something jumps at you that you need to research further or you need to have as an actionable point, then you will need to note that down. Okay. I can hear some noise in the background. It looks like not everybody is muted. Am I right? Okay, it's better now. Okay, so let's look at this. What does school administration mean to you? What does school administration mean to you? I need you to think, okay? Because sometimes we like very bogus definitions, too many big words. I'm not a very big fan of definition, but sometimes you need to ponder on something you've always thought you've known and to be able to apply it daily. Okay, so what does school administration mean to you? Does anybody want to share in the comments? What does school administration mean to you? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? So basically, school administration involves managing all the operations in a school. And that word all is very intimidating. Because when you think school administration, you think about admission procedures, you think about even revising the school's vision, plus strategic planning. You look at bus operations, how money is collected, how it is not collected, don't collect money, don't collect cash. We're using this, we're using that. Policies, procedures. You're looking at recruitment. You're looking at firing people. You're looking at managing staff welfare. You're looking at a whole lot of things. And it's sometimes overwhelming. But please note that if you hear the heart of a school administrator, you are involved in basically managing all the operations in a school, plus a little more, which involves even, planning and strategizing and all of that. So in a nutshell, that's what school administration is about in a layman's language, in everyday language. I can still hear the noise from the background. I can still hear the noise. Oh, we're 13 now. So basically, it involves managing all the operations in a school, all of the operations in a school. And when I say all, I mean all. Like I said, that's pretty much intimidating a lot of times. It involves everything you do to make things run effectively and efficiently in a school. Everything you do to make things run effectively and efficiently in a school, from staff development so that they know what to do, performance management, even starting with recruiting the right people, starting with even crafting a vision to ensure that you have a direction where you're going, okay? Ensuring that there are policies, there are procedures, and things to guide everybody, even firing the people who are not working. All of this is involved in administration, negotiating, things around purchasing, okay, and all of that. They're all involved in administration, budgeting, a whole lot. And one of the things I have found out is the reason school owners do not give a free hand to a lot of school administrators is that they do not understand what is involved with running a school effectively and efficiently and handling it as a business. Okay, so this is a time is a clarion call to school administrators to not just be involved with the curriculum and the academics, but to be involved with the business side of school. And that means you need to understand how things run effectively and efficiently in a school system. Once you can do that long enough to convince the owner of the business, you will never be given a free hand to run a school. So a lot of people here, if I'm right, are actually just figureheads. So you might be at the helm of affairs in a school, but never given the power that goes with running a school because you have not demonstrated enough to the school owner that you actually understand and know how to run things effectively and efficiently in the school system. And I would not be wrong if I say that I'm sure you don't even know how much the school spends on some things. I have news for you. I started like that too. But as I began to learn and to upskill and to know what school administration is all about, I was given a free hand to actually run a school. To sit down with the team and we budget and give to the owners and say, this is what we'll be spending next year. These are the areas we do not want to spend money. We'll be the ones actually advising and making recommendations for approval of the things that we wanted to do. But I can see that a lot of school administrators are not yet at that level. And it's a very frustrating thing to be a school administrator and not be considered professional or skilled enough to be given a free hand to do things. Well, you might need to maybe mute a bit because I see that there's still some noise there. So basically, that's what it is. That's just what it is. Okay. So I need us to do something. I need us to reflect on the things we currently manage as a school administrator. What do you manage as a school administrator? I need you to think. The things you do in a day are so many. There are a myriad of activities you're involved with. Sometimes you need to give a name to these things, to the operations that you're involved with. Perhaps it's admission, okay? Handling the whole admission process. Even admission alone has so many things involved. okay? From inquiries to feeding them with information to follow-up emails, to say thank you for the visit, to fixing exam dates, ensuring the exams are marked, ensuring the results are out on time, ensuring that it's properly communicated even to the parents, typing out letters of admission, ensuring that the children are screened before they're even given the admission letters, having their health checked. So when you say admission, it just sounds so easy, but it's so, under admission, there are so many operations involved. How about bus management? How many of you run a school with a bus? Has a pickup bus system? It's a whole lot. From ensuring there's a chaperone, ensuring that the driver is checked, there's a background check on the driver, ensuring the car is properly maintained so that there are no accidents or leaving things to chance, training the driver and the chaperone, records of the children who take the school bus, schedule for them, the time they move and the time they come back, ensuring that they keep to those procedures and policies around, ensuring the parents involved pay. Everything in administration involves so many activities, so many operations. How about recruitment? It just sounds easy, oh, we're recruiting someone, but there's so many things involved. Okay, even deciding what position you need to hire for and the qualities of the person you need to hire, what the person will be doing, having a job description, typing out the advert, putting out graphics, and placing an advert out there, bringing people in so that they can actually on the position to apply, screening their CVs, scheduling interviews, having a preliminary interviews, maybe to hear how they communicate, okay, to just hear them talk. And then you go on to now screen them, have interviews. After the interviews, selecting who you really want to work with you, meeting with them for negotiation, a whole lot. Okay, whole lot. How about the financial management? Ensuring you have policies, that you budget, that your parents even know what your financial policies are, that no child is allowed into the school until their fees have been paid. And but if they do cannot pay all at once, all of the other things are going to collecting fees before end of the term. A whole lot. Okay. How about maintenance? Maintenance of your properties and a whole lot. I could just go on and on. I'm sure you know all of it. The maintaining your ACs, maintaining the fans, maintaining the school building. How about procurement? How do you procure things in your school? Who buys them? Who controls how they buy? Who makes the requisition? Who does the purchasing? Who receives them? Who does the stock taking? So many things. So a school administrator is involved in managing a whole lot of processing and in the operations of a school. Okay. I'm still hearing some noise. I don't know where that's coming from. Come on with me, I think it's coming in. Okay, so we're going on now. Now I needed to ponder on this to get intentional. You cannot be a great school administrator without the right knowledge, skills, exposure, and attitude. So it's not enough to get the knowledge, develop skills. It's not enough to have the skills, have exposure. Because even with the right knowledge and skills, it can become dated after a while. So many things have been going on. If you were trained, let's say before artificial intelligence took over, now you need to be retrained again. You need to learn. You need to know how to apply that to school administration. Remember, we're talking about 21st century school administration here. Okay, and then of course you need to have the exposure, and to do that, you have to hang around the right people who are constantly developing and upskilling themselves, and of course come with the right attitude, because there's no end to this learning. So it's not enough to get the job position. You must understand your role as a school administrator in the grand scheme of things in that school. And I always say to people, the administrator is the hub of the school. If the hub doesn't get it right, everything else will go wrong. No matter how much the teachers love teaching, no matter how much they know the curriculum, and it's even oozing from every fiber of their being, and it's coming out even from their sweat. Believe me, until there's an administrator to coordinate, to plan, to supervise, and to get things right, all of that will be a total mess. Because when the school is not growing as an entity, as a business, it doesn't matter that you have great teachers. Everything is going to fall apart. And I'm sure you've heard about a school too many that has actually broken down or become obsolete just because there was no proper administration and leadership and management. But how about if we just become intentional about leadership, about school administration, and understand our place in the grand scheme of things? Then it will make a whole lot of difference in the way that we handle things. Now, I need us to look at 21st century education and the perspective that this will bring to your school administration. If you were a school administrator, let's say in 2005, by the way, that was when I had my first school administrator position in 2005. And that was after being a teacher for several years, I think about 10 years or so. And then I had my first school administrator position. But you know, the things I did then now in 2005, I cannot come and start replicating them now if I'm given a school to lead because time has happened. A lot of things have changed. The landscape has changed drastically. Technology has happened to us all and changed everything. Then came social media. First it was emails, then social media, the internet, and now artificial intelligence has actually bamboozled all of us. And if we do not line up, then you'll be left way back in the Rockies. So in school administration, if I could do something, if it took me 6 hours to get a job done, maybe compiling, let's say it took me 6 days to have the database of the entire school then. How about now with Excel, with even Excel online and so many other things, and you can just get the job done? Maybe something that took you 6 hours then or 6 days can be done in just 30 minutes now. How sweet and how great can that be? What an amazing time to be an administrator with all the help from technology here and there, you know? And it couldn't have been a better time than now, actually. Okay? So the aim is for us to keep developing ourselves and never to relent. So very quickly, let's look at the challenges that school administrators face in the 21st century. And as we talk about these problems, remember that these challenges, remember that we are not complaining, but we are embracing those challenges and knowing that we have the solutions to them because we are problem solvers. You're employed to solve problems. And so when you encounter challenges, that's not for you to fold your arms and lament and gripe and be sad and murmur and complain. Far from it. So you embrace the challenge, you acknowledge that these are the challenges, but you go a step further to have a mindset, a growth mindset that says, yes, these are the challenges, but I also have the solution. And in my little corner, I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to make a huge difference in my corner of the world. So first, there's been the rapid technological advancements and integration into education. I remember when I wrote my book, Dear Educator, this book, Dear Educator, in 2019, a lot of people were like, oh, I remember I said something about the need to be tech savvy. I really emphasized it in a lot of the chapters, no matter the angle what topic I was talking about in that book, I would somehow find a way to squeeze in how you should actually be tech savvy. And I recall that some teachers actually took it upon themselves as a challenge to develop themselves in technology. They went on and learned Google Classroom. That was even before the pandemic. And guess what? During the pandemic, some people lost their jobs because they couldn't cope with the rapid technological advancements that had happened. If they didn't want to change, the COVID happened and forced everybody out of their comfort zones to begin to embrace technology. So whether we liked it or not, as teachers, as educators, as school leaders, as school owners, we had no choice but to embrace technology. So we had to do it willingly. Those of us who did it willingly then loved it. And so it wasn't any surprise because I had started using Zoom and Google Classroom way before even the pandemic. So when people were making so much noise about Zoom, making so much noise about even Skype, I was like, oh, Skype? We've been using Skype since 2010. How can Skype suddenly be something that is to be made so much noise about, you know. So we have to take comments, and we cannot do anything about that. Nobody's taking permission from us to bring in technology, to bring in changes in our world. Nobody at all is bringing changes with our permission. You wake up and boom, a new technology. Maybe they tell you this is a Kahoot. Tomorrow another person changes to Kahoot. Another person will say, oh, no, there's Khan Academy. And then another one says Google Meet has new features. Have you tried it? Or Google Classroom has changed this or changed that. Have you heard about this one? All of these people did not ask your opinion before coming up with all of this. A few days ago, I woke up and saw that even WhatsApp had changed. I wanted to put something on the status, and I said, where is my status? I couldn't find it. I now saw everything down. I'm sure you've all noticed that as well. That is rapid technological advancement and integration. So schools that use maybe WhatsApp to make announcements, that use WhatsApp to teach, maybe to send homework, will actually have to know that there's a change even in WhatsApp. And that's how it is. Just a week ago, it wasn't like that. And suddenly everything has changed. Do you understand? It's the same. So you always constantly have to be up to date with technology and make it your friend and your ally instead of constantly resisting and saying, oh, these people are in their trouble. Their wahala is too much. No, you have to find ways to integrate it in how you go about your administration. For example, in your school, do you use Canva? My organization does all of our graphics by ourselves. All of the, if you visit my website, you see designs for my webinars, my meetup in various cities, and the trainings that I have, the companies I'm recruiting for. All of those graphics were done, some by me personally, and of course by my team in the Pencil Smith Consulting. That's how much we value technology. Okay, so we just get on Canva and try this, try that, and we come up with graphics, okay? And the same thing with AI. These days it's a lot easier to integrate that into what you do. So even to send emails and make them really, really fast, okay? Imagine you have your admission procedures and now people just come in to make inquiries before they get into their car. A thank you note has already hit their emails and they're wondering, wow, this school is so great on customer service. They're so great, you know, but technology is behind the scene helping you to get all of these things done. Okay, maybe even your yearbook, where it took you years to write out things, write this and that, and now technology can help you, of course, with artificial intelligence. So don't embrace technology. It's a challenge that is thrown on us, but it's also full of opportunities if you look at it with a growth mindset. I want to be sure I've not lost all of you. If you're still here, please just say, yes, I'm still here in the comments. Can you say yes, yes, yes? Oh, okay, someone is taking notes. I will come to that, please. Okay. So can we say yes, please, if you're actually still hearing? Okay, please says yes, yes. I just want to be sure that the network is not misbehaving like it did. Someone left the meeting. I'm wondering why. Thank you, Chijoke. Thank you, Abiodun Efuwakwe. Chijoke, Anum Elvis Sechi. By the way, Anum was the first to get here. Thank you so much. Victoria and Chewi, thank you so much. Promise Okoli, she says, yes, I'm still here. Please, Ikea Huridike. I hope I got the pronunciation well. I like to pronounce people's names properly. Okay, people are raising their hands. Oh, okay. We'll have a time for questions, but I think it's nice that I just go through the slides. At Atkins International School, Blessing Kayode Abe, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're going on. Josephine Jideka, thank you so much. Thank you. We are 16 now. I think that's a fair number considering that it's a Sunday. And people like to rest on Sundays. You know, we're not machines really, we're humans. Obi now, Koro, thank you. Thank you so much for all of the comments. So I'm continuing. So we've already touched one of the challenges, and the next will be pressures of standardized testing and accountability measures. I cannot say what has happened in school administration that has dented the image of some schools. I'm sure by now you know that in a bid to keep up with pressures of standardized testing, some schools cheat. And it's something of shame to talk about amongst professionals. So please do not be among those that have yielded to the pressures of standardized testing and you're letting go of your accountability measures where students are allowed to cheat so that the name of your school is glorified. That's a very wrong way to glorify your school. And it's been such a problem in the 21st century for whatever reason, maybe because of the visibility of schools. People want their names on the in the Hall of Fame of schools. People want their name all over social media to say, yes, my school, all the students had all A's and A pluses in IGCSE, in all the subjects. But you see, we must not let go of our integrity while we want the kids to succeed. Because if they are doing it at the expense of integrity, that's a really sad way to go about it. And we will be very, very sorry at the results that we get at the end of the day. So if the students pass with a piece of paper that shows not what they were able to achieve, but what they cheated to achieve, then there is a problem. And I want to address this issue among school administrators to say, stop it if you have been compromising. That is not an area you want to compromise at all. Rather, stay and do your work behind the scenes so that the glory of your school be seen, okay, in a very positive way and with the right ethics and integrity. Another challenge that school administrators face is limited funding and resource constraints. We all live in a global economy, and we know that there's a meltdown, whether we admit it or not. There's a global recession. Yes. If you were in the market last week and then you're back this week to buy the same item, I'm sure you'd see the shock on your face when they tell you the new prices, okay? And this is affecting operations in the school because remember that a school collects, if a school depends mainly on the fees paid by the parents, especially in the private sector. And the fees are not paid every month. And yes, we have salaries to pay January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And some schools even go a step ahead to pay the 13th month. And sometimes we wonder, where does this money really come from? Where does the money come from? Where exactly does the money come from? You know, so as school administrators, we need to learn how to manage resources. Let me share a secret with you. With the limited funding and resource that your school has, if you as the administrator know how to know where the money comes in and where it goes, and you're able to plug and save costs, believe me, your name will be written in gold in your school and in your school, even after you've gone. And I can say this for free because it happens to me. On my last job, I introduced a lot of things that helped us to bring down the cost of operations in the three arms of the school that were under my oversight, that were my oversight as a school administrator. And believe me, up till now, my name is written in gold for that and many other things that I did. So understand financial management and know that a school receives money 3 times in a year: first term, second term, third term. And if you run quarters, if you run an American school and you have quarters, then you have 4 quarters. So you imagine 3 times or 4 times, it's still almost the same thing. You receive money 3 times, and yet you have to spend daily, you have to spend monthly. And salaries are a huge part of this. So you need to understand financial management, understand budgeting, understand what it means to take money, to take care of money committed to you by the school where you work, okay? So know that you have a challenge of limited funding and resource constraints and find your way around it, okay? Then recently we've had issues of addressing mental health and well-being concerns among students. If there has ever been a time when students are under mental attack and mental health issues, it is now. With all of the exposure to the internet, to various sites, to pornographic, all sorts, to even online where people meet, you know, those that actually groom them or do stuff, introduce them into satanism, introduce them to all kinds of malpractices. and even show them how to harm themselves. Yes, there was a time a website was trending when they would tell you how to kill yourself, how to commit suicide, how to do things. And then, of course, there's the pressure of constantly comparing yourself with the next student and other people from other parts of the country and other parts of the world as well. And so the average student is actually has a lot of mental health issues to cope with. And this is a time school administrators need to pay attention to mental health issues. So a case of just saying, oh, I beg, it's not my business, let their parents deal with it, is not going to help. That will not help at all. We're at a time where we need to have proper counseling, where we need to have school psychologists, where we need to have people trained, even the teachers, on how to handle mental health and well-being concerns among the students, and not to wave them aside until we see another suicide note. Okay? So just know that they are grappling with a lot of mental health issues, and it is your business as the school administrator. Because if a child's mental health and well-being is not stable, then there's not much you can do in academics, because they need to comprehend what it is that is being taught. And if their mental health is compromised, then there is a problem. We also have the challenge of adapting to changing societal expectations and roles of educators. What is our role in the school? Recently, I'm sure you know that a lot of people have been running from the education sector, whether we like to say this or not. And that is because a lot of people are not parenting their children at home. They are throwing that responsibility back at the school. I'm not saying that is right or wrong. I'm just saying that the society has a very unusual expectation of teachers now. You hear things like, oh, why didn't the school handle that? Why didn't the school teach them? And then the question is, why can't the home also handle some of these things? So they are changing societal expectations and roles of education. And invariably, we have taken on even parenting. I'm telling you, and those of you who work in boarding houses, you know how tough it is. Some parents are looking for everywhere to dump their children so that they can have peace of mind at home to chase money while they leave all the headache to you. From children who are not untrained, who will not be corrected. If you try to correct them, the parents will say you're too harsh on them. I'm sure we're familiar with these things. I do not need to go on and on about it. But just know that we're adapting to changing societal expectations and the roles of education. Then, of course, the impact of globalization on education systems. And you know, right now, people tell you, oh, I need a school that does a Cambridge curriculum, that does Canadian, that does American. It's all of the effect of globalization. And even our Nigerian curriculum, I'm sure you know the way we teach it now is constantly evolving and changing because of the impact of globalization, okay, on their education system. There's also the challenge of increasing diversity and cultural differences among students and staff because of the level of exposure. We have to learn how to run inclusive schools where inclusion is preached and practiced, where there are no discriminations among for ethnicity, cultural differences, racial differences, religious differences, and all that among staff and students. Where we have people, because people have a right to how they think and what they want to do with their lives. And I'm sure if you have ever traveled out of the country, or you do a lot of research and read, and by the way, I expect that you do as educators and as administrators, you will know all of the challenges going on in schools in the developed world. You know, their children will just wake up and decide that they do not want to be a certain gender anymore. They want to be the next one. And the school supports them and says you do not even have to contact their parents. If a child doesn't want to be Barbie, for example, and wants to be John, by all means, let the child be John. And these are things that we have to cope with. All of the issues around gender, around diversity, around cultural differences, sometimes they're a bit overwhelming. And so if you're not a flexible administrator, it's going to be tough. So one of the things you need to have as a school administrator in the 21st century is certainly flexibility. Flexibility. Okay, thank you for that section. If you have questions, you might want to type them in the comments instead of just raising your hands. When I'm done, I will have a look at them. Omar, you have not told me how many more minutes I have. Oh. And so far, how has it been? Can I get feedback from you? I need to get feedback from you, how the session has been, what you've been able to pick so far. Omar, how many more minutes do I have?
Well, the session is meant to end at 6:30. So we question and answer everything. We're meant to end at 6:30. So
Okay, that means I have to make the rest of it really snappy so that I have time for questions. Okay, someone is saying, just make your comments there. Okay, I'll come to them, and you can start typing the questions that pop at you. Okay, so that we'll go through them. And okay, Chichoke says very concise and very educative. Thank you. And Eddie says flexibility. I need to be a flexible administrator. Certainly, we need to be flexible. We have to have a growth mindset. I'm not saying just accepting everything that is thrown at the wall and not having standards, but I'm sure you don't understand what we mean. Having that mindset shift that allows you to be flexible and know, when to change and when to adapt and all of that. So let's look at why intentional leadership matters in school administration. Says it helps you to align, it ensures alignment between the school's goals, values, and the actions. So if you're not intentional, there's some school, there was a training I had once, and I was asking school administrators the vision of their school. Some of them could not state the vision of the school they lead. I sweat, and I said, come on, if you're the leader, and the school administrator is a top executive position in a school. And if you do not understand your school's vision, mission, your goals, your values, and what actions you need to take to get your school there, then there is a problem because you cannot share with the people you lead what you do not know. So when you're intentional, you will know the vision of the school. You'll understand why that particular school was set up. Yes, every school has, well, all of us are educating children in the education space. But how we do it is different because when someone starts a school, there's something usually burning on their inside. And I'm talking about those who have a vision because I know some school owners who do not even have a vision for their school, and I've encountered some. I'm talking about those who are vision led, to start a school. So you must understand the vision of your school and you should be able to share that. Okay. When you're intentional, you provide a clear direction and vision for the school community. Okay, I share that a lot in my training and in a lot of things that I do. There's something I do with schools. It's called Vision Party, where we get it and we get to the origin of your school. Some schools say we're no more growing, we're no more doing this. And we tell them maybe it's time to revisit your vision. Okay, I won't go into details there, but if you want me to do that for your school, I'm available. Okay, so school leadership, school administration also matters because it maximizes efficiency and effectiveness of school operations and initiatives. At the beginning, after we had the technical glitch, I began to explain some of the things that school administrators do. I did say that we need to be effective in all of these school operations and the initiatives that we introduce in the schools. So when you're intentional, you'll see effectiveness and efficiency. Intentionality will also make you, to be able to even measure the performance of your team. You can be an administrator and be chasing people, do your job, they'll be wagging their tail like puppies, moving up and down, going down motions. At the end of the year, you have not achieved anything. You have only got people who came to work every day of the school year, and there was no intentionality about their performance. I'm very big on performance management, and there's a course I teach on performance management. I do it even in-house in schools, and I have a course on it as well. So you might want to reach out for that. So you need to know how to maximize efficiency and effectiveness of school operations and initiative. When you're intentional, it helps to foster a culture of accountability and responsibility among staff and stakeholders. Look, people that follow you know when you're intentional. They know when you're accountable. They know when you're doing the right thing. They might not be able to look you in the face and say, Madam, I think you're derailing, or I don't think you're doing the right thing. They might gossip behind your back if you're not constructive criticism, you know, but you need to be accountable and have a culture of accountability in your school. It also promotes proactive decision making and problem solving. I did say earlier that you're hired to solve problems. You're hired to solve problems. And so you have to be proactive about decision making and problem solving. When you're intentional about school, about your school administration, it will help you to enhance communication and collaboration within the school community because you have a sense of direction where you're all going. Anytime you get into a school and there's confusion, no, that was not the announcement. This is what the administrator meant. This is not what they meant. This is this. Know that there's poor communication. And you cannot run an administration without effective communication. And good enough, communication is one of the C's that we talk about in 21st century education. I'm sure you know the rest, okay? I'm sure you can mention the other C's. How many of you can mention the other C's? Let me see the C's in the comments. Well, you know that communication is one of them. So is collaboration, okay? It also cultivates a sense of purpose and motivation among staff, leading to a higher morale and job satisfaction. Okay, when you're intentional, you'll be able to notice where the gaps are because you have a sense of purpose and you'll be able to look for ways to motivate the staff so that they can perform better. Okay, so that's that section. Now let's look at core administrative functions in a school. When we say someone is a school administrator, what do they even do, girl? You know, some people just have a nice office, AC is blowing them. When you get to the school from the gate, you know that there's no administration. You only have a figurehead who just sits down for the AC to be blowing him or her. And for everybody to be greeting you when you come, welcome, carrying your handbag and your laptop bag all over the place. But let's look at what the core functions really are in a school. Let's look at some of the admin functions. When you say you are a school administrator, what are you involved with? I mentioned earlier that you're involved with money. And I said, learn more financial management, budgeting, how to collect school fees. By the way, my last job before I started Peso Smith Consulting was in a group of schools managed by a multinational. And we had over 1,000 students. And I had over about 150 staff working under my supervision. And I had to learn a whole lot about money and school, how to save costs, how to even collect money. And guess what? We had 100% fee collection from these over 1,000 students. So when people tell me, oh, I have 300 students, 50 of them are owing fees, I'm like, no, there's something you're not doing right. So you have to learn how to manage money, everything about money in a school, and do it with integrity. If you do this well, if you get the business part of school well, which is money, of course, let's call a spade a spade. If your school is not sustainable, no matter how beautiful the facilities are, no matter how handsome and pretty your teachers are, they will start running away, and the students too will run. Then, of course, there's communication. I've already mentioned that. An administration that does not communicate is not an administration. Okay? Communication is a language of administration. You have to communicate the vision, everything you need to do, binding, getting buy-in of those things and business development. All of these are involved in administration, and sometimes we leave all of this out. There's safety and health and safety, human resource management, from recruiting to who does what, assigning them to classrooms, assigning who goes to admin, who is at the front desk. I went to a school once and the front desk officer was smelly. Beautiful lady with body odor. The human resource manager should have known, or the school administrator who handles that should have known that that is a wrong place to put somebody who has body odor. You want to chase everybody from the school? Can a front desk officer have body odor? Haba. No, it's not allowed. Not at all. Then, of course, policies and procedures. You're the custodian of policies and procedures. You create policies, you implement them, you revise them, you introduce them to staff, you get them involved even with making this. Then there's performance management, which I mentioned earlier. Okay, everything about the performance management system. See, being a school administrator is an overwhelming thing, and it's a very thankless job. So if you want people to be following you and be greeting you, yes, sir, yes, sir, you're not ready for school administration. It takes your all. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's a job that demands far more from you. Then, of course, technology. You have your computers, you have other things, other gadgets. They need to be maintained. You need to also have people manning them and making sure there's internet, making sure this, that. Technology here will include your laptops, includes other gadgets such as your printers, photocopiers, and all that. All of these are managed in administration. I'm sure you know. How often do they need to come and check your photocopier? How do they need to do this or that? Then you have facilities management. If you go to some schools, they've not been repainted in God knows how long. Of course, you know that it's not allowed for people to be walking and be touching the walls. You need to maintain your facilities, the staircase, make sure they are not soft that people can slip over and fall. Then you have customer service, you have managing the vendors. Some schools have caterers that come in, people that supply you with stationery, people that supply a whole lot of stuff to you. You have to manage vendors. And then, of course, events. You can't talk about schools without events. What is a good school without good events? This is also a way to showcase your school and for the kids to know, to show everybody what they have learned and to attract other people in. Then you have academics. You have to, there are procedures involved with academics, managing lesson plans, who submits to who, what do we use in doing it, which formats. So there are administrative functions in academics. Okay, who is assigned to where, who does what, why do we need to remove this teacher from taking economics to taking global perspectives, all kinds of questions. Then the admission process, I already explained this, that is a huge thing. Admission alone is a huge thing, and you have to manage it because it forms a whole lot of the perception that people have about you. The perception parents are going to have about you starts from the admission. Then, of course, managing relationships with various stakeholders, including the owner of the school, the employer, the school board members. I remember on my last job, I had to cultivate a relationship with the school board. On that board, we had someone for human resource, for finance, for marketing and growth, for business development, for all sorts. And I had to, for finance, I had to manage the relationships with them and also manage relationships with those under my direct supervision, the heads of schools, the principal, head of elementary, head of early years, and then, of course, head of boarding. I also had to manage relationship with the parents, manage with the students. So you're a relationship manager as the school administrator. You manage all kinds of relationships, and sometimes it's overwhelming because the expectations are sometimes unrealistic. But you have to see what you can do to manage all these functions. Then, of course, if you have a hostel, you have the boarding staff to work with, okay, the pastoral staff, those who supervise, even the boarding staff. You have talked about school events before. Then there's purchasing and procurement. Them takes the inventory, dispenses. You have to have control. It can't be the same person doing all of this. It can't be the same person. Then you have staff welfare. In some schools, people will just be moving away. You don't know what's going on. Maybe they have worked there for 10 years, not even a kobo to increase their salaries. So it's the school administrator that will still look into staff welfare and to recommend to the board or to the owner of the school that I know these people have put in so much. I know things. Their what do they call it? Their salaries just to make them happy. Then, of course, record keeping. If you check my YouTube channel, there's a free course I did, a course I did, it was paid for, on record, how to maintain school records. So you might want to go there and actually check and watch that video, okay? Training and development, how to train the staff, make sure they're up to date. It's also part of ensuring that they perform adequately and effectively on their jobs. Then you have outbound public relations, Ministry of Education, okay, the state government, various stakeholders and policymakers, West African School Exams Council, NECO, Cambridge, British Council, so many. You also manage all of these relationships. When to submit maybe continuous assessment of the children, when to upgrade your facilities to meet the IGCSE exams, what to do with your labs and all of those kind of things, communication for deadline of submitting WAEC entries, West African School Exams entries, NECO entries, IGCSE entries, various announcements about changes, inspections, various inspectors who come there, you host them. So all of these things are involved with in school administration. Okay. And then of course, there are various people you also manage in a school. Okay, maybe you are the head of school or the school administrator. Then you have an academic and learning managers where you can have something like head of academics. Some schools have VP academics. Some call it head of learning, whatever. Okay, or program manager, whatever. Then you have marketing and customer relationship managers. You have store and logistics managers. You have the facilities managers, school bus drivers, teachers, admissions officers, and registrars, front desk officers, nannies, caregivers, school nurses, janitors, hostel boarding house marshals, accountant and bossa, IT manager, cleaners, admin manager, social media manager, marketing executives, all of these, okay? Now, what policies do you have in place? That's one question you need to ask yourself. Have you put checks in place? Is it the same person who makes requests that places the orders and purchases and stores for the school? Is there a process for approval? In academics, what are the various processes involved in managing the academic performance of your students? In communication, how do you communicate with the parents? Is it effective? How do you communicate with the staff? Is it effective? How do you communicate with the students? Is it effective? So as a school administrator, I need you to write down the core areas you are involved with in your school. That's going to be something to take home. And then you're going to think through, have a meeting with your team to look at areas you need to improve on, okay? And it's not enough to have a beautiful school building or facilities. You must audit each of these aspects of your school to ensure that you have the right administrative or management framework, okay, and ensure that your admin style aligns to your school. Some people go and steal exactly what one school administrator is doing in one school and bring it to their school. That's not proper, and that's not 21st century school administration. You have to be adaptable. Okay, you have to be very adaptable. So I've been a school administrator in 4 schools, and even recently I was offered a school administration job. I was to start last month, which I turned down. That would have been my 5th. I still like what I do in Pencil Smith Consulting. I can only come in as a consultant, to oversee what goes on and train school administrators to do it right, But you see, in each of the 4 schools where I have been an administrator, my admin style had to align to the school. So what I did in the school where I worked in the South is different from the one in Abuja, is different from the one in Calabar, is different from the one in Lagos. So your actions you take as a school administrator must align with your school brand. Okay, and this should align, and this aligns to being dynamic, agile, and responsive. Okay, your administrative style should be agile. Okay, you should need to be adaptable as well. So very quickly, I would like us to reflect. Remember, I said it's not enough to attend a seminar, be clapping and saying, oh, very informative, oh, very nice, I'm inspired. What have you learned from this class? I need you to write that down. What will you do differently? And what aspects would you need help with? Those are the questions I'm posing at you. Listen to them again. What have you learned from this class? What has hit you the most? Write down at least three. If you try to remember everything, you might not. But change is a gradual thing, but you have to change. You must start from somewhere. What will you do differently now that you have been informed or have even confirmed what you have been doing right? Now, what aspects would you need help with? And another thing you need to think, what skills do you need as a school administrator to perform all these roles that we have talked about? Okay. And that brings me to the end, but I'm going to pitch this to you quickly. I have 5 books I've written, but I'm going to tell you about 3 of them very quickly. If you're a school administrator, this is one book you must have. Unfortunately, we have run out of the hard copies, and we currently have soft copies on our seller shop, and this is the seller shop. I need you to take notes of that, where you can get the product. I also have the book Effective Boarding House Administration, and it's the only boarding house administration book in Nigeria at the moment. It goes for 6,000, but if you inbox me on this number and say that you are this webinar, you have a discount of 500 naira. And then, of course, the educator goes for 5,500 naira. That's the new price. It used to be a lot cheaper, but I'm sure you know about cost of production and other things that go on now. So if you inbox me to say you were in this webinar, and this is my WhatsApp enabled line, then you can have a discount of 500 naira as well. So connect with me. This is my website, www.nancyekwezu.com. This is my WhatsApp enabled line, +234 803 5880367. I'm on Facebook as Nancy Ekwezu. I'm on LinkedIn as Nancy Ekwezu. I'm on Instagram as Nancy Ekwezu. My email is info@nancyekwezu.com. Or I'm also on Twitter as Nancy Ekwezu or N Ekwezu. And very importantly, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And even this session we had, I'm going to upload it there, and you can come watch it for free after this session. Thank you very much, and see you in my next course. You can reach out via this number if you would like to be a part of it. Thank you, and thank you. So we have some minutes now, I think 14, to be able to, we have 14 minutes now to be able to go through questions. Thank you very, very much. Okay, somebody's writing responses here. Please show the second point again. What point is that? What points were you talking about? Okay, so that is it. Thank you so much for being keen listeners. I hope you're able to make some sense of it and also got some things to go home with to implement. Oh, people have started leaving the meeting. We have questions now and people are leaving. Why are they leaving? Oh, 2 people, 3, 4 have left. Oh, people are leaving. Why? All right, so let's go on. Thank you very much, Frontline. Okay, Anam says, thank you so much for this session. I'm grateful. Oh, you're welcome. Any day, any day. So do we already have questions in the comment section? So let's take the questions. Woman, you muted yourself. You need to unmute.
Oh, sorry. I've been talking. Okay. Thank you for calling my attention to that. Yes, we got value from the section. No. I know we'll have loved to do more to expatiate further, but then we have to manage our time because Sunday is actually a resting day. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And of course, I think I have seen 2 questions which I will read out in a jiffy. So, like our Miss Nancy has already said that we need to think about action points. So it's not enough. Sometimes it's not what we have that matters, it's what we do with what we have. So the knowledge we have gotten today, application of such knowledge is wisdom. So it's not just about gathering knowledge, amassing knowledge, we have to put them into practice. So that's when our time here will not be a waste. So I'm going to read the question, but before I do that, we know that one of the core function, like she has rightly said, of an administrator is has to do, there's an academic aspect. So, and that is where we come in, Frontline Learning Center come in. We come in the area of curriculum development. I know that a lot of schools in Nigeria now adopt blended curriculum. When I say talking about blend of, most especially a blend of Nigeria and the British curriculum, and I see schools, I see people advertising curriculum online here and there. That's actually not the best practice. When you talk about blended curriculum, you are not meant to buy that. You're meant to develop that yourself as a school. And that's where we come in. So we come in to show that clarity and how you can, because blending it now depends on your own peculiar school goals, school vision. We determine how much you want to take from the Nigeria curriculum and how much, what percentage you want to take from British curriculum. So because no two schools have the same vision. So that is where we come in. And we have a training coming up in April, talk about schools that want to know more about EYFS, IGCSE, and all the Cambridge, and then blending this curriculum with our Nigerian curriculum. So we have a training for that. So let me quickly read one of the questions I got here. It says, how do you manage? I think I lost that. Okay, how do you handle owners' interference in school administration?
Okay, very good question. Let me tell you the truth. School owners have their fears about school administrators for a lot of reasons, and rightly so. First, they may have had poor experiences with others who were very unprofessional in terms of money. And then they also fear, do they have the skills? Do they have the passion? I did mention that when I started that way by school owners antagonizing and trying to protect their school. But as I kept growing, I found out that one of the missing links is normally the business side of school. A lot of school administrators know the academics. But you see, for school growth to occur holistically, you need to understand the business side. And if you develop your business acumen to the point where they can trust you, I'm telling you the gospel truth, you'll be given a free hand to do things. But it takes a process. And just because you have a job position does not mean they're going to entrust you with that part. You have to earn it. It's just like how a man woos a woman. It's not the first day he comes to her, she just says yes. And starts following him. You understand? It's just because you have been given a letter of employment doesn't mean that they want to entrust everything to you overnight. You have to actually earn it. Even after getting your letter of employment, it's your skills, knowledge, attitudes, and what you do with the knowledge that will make them relax and say, this one knows what he or she is doing. So the initial protection of their school is expected of anybody. If I bring in someone now to start running my company, let's say I travel to the UK or travel to the US, I'm not just going to give everything to them all at once. To places. First, they earn my trust that they can do this or that, and then I begin to move to the point where I can now leave the business for them. But if you just leave everything for an average Nigerian, because of the lack of professionalism and lack of ethics, some people can ruin another person's school and walk away. And guess what? When everybody walks away, the school owner is the one who bears the brunt of everything that's gone wrong. So they have a right to protect, just like you should also be working and earning their trust so that they leave you to work. I hope that has
Yes,
answered your question.
yes, thank you. I believe the participants should be satisfied with that response. That's very correct. So we can still take two more questions. So if you have a question now, you can type in the chat or you unmute yourself to and ask the question.
Okay, Peace says, what stood out for me in the seminar is that my admin style must align with the school's policy. I have to be flexible, have a growth mindset, etc. Very, very, yes. What I would do differently is to be a lot more intentional in the running of a school, especially in the area of money management and budgeting. Very correct. Let me tell you, every school owner has a soft spot. And one of the things that will make you actually hit that soft spot is to protect their school, especially financially. If you're able to get trust in the area of financial management, honestly, they will score you so high, you'll be amazed how much they'll commit to you. And I'm talking from experience. But until you do that, they'll always protect their school from you. Okay? Any other one?
Okay, while we are waiting for more, I can ask this week because I know that a lot of schools face this same challenge, especially at a time like this, talking about staff retention. Because the truth is, teaching is not one of the highest paid profession. And so there recently, with the crisis, global crisis, recession, and all of that, it's been challenging. In fact, since post-COVID, staff retention has been a major issue for schools. So, from your experience, I would like you to share maybe one or two tips that have worked for you in the past in the area of retaining staff. Because sometimes it might not even be money alone.
Well, in Nigeria, people work a lot for money, but I will shock you that that's not the only reason people stay in a school. People stay in a school where they are actually respected and given a free hand to grow. And so, as the administrator, staff retention and staff welfare should also be one of the things you look into very seriously. So, don't just say, oh, we are paying them salaries, we pay them monthly, we don't owe them. And then you start talking to people anyhow. Remember, people leave bad bosses and not necessarily an organization. So, the style of leadership can actually help to retain people. I have seen a school that was struggling financially, and the owner came and pleaded with the staff. A friend of mine was working in one of those schools. And then she pleaded, she sat down and with them and explained everything, brought the school's finances to them and said, this is the true situation. I'm being open and straightforward with you. This is where we are. We have a loan. However, we'll never owe you. But please, for the next 3 years, we might not be able to increase salaries. However, you will still have your job. I'm not laying people off unless something criminal or whatever as stipulated in the policies happens. And you know that people stayed because of our transparency. About the one that just comes and starts shouting, don't you even know how the economy is? Don't you know this? They don't know. The next day, people start leaving. So the attitude of management is a key driver to staff retention. And of course, recently I tell people don't keep staff, school owners that want staff to sleep in the office. You need to be a bit more flexible. You should also be realistic. If they have side hustles that are not interfering with your work hours and what you do, and they're able to handle them well, please allow them to make a little extra income outside if they can handle it. That will also help them as against trying to box everybody in. You must close at 6:30. Even when time for closing is over, you still want to send them and keep using them and all of that. Those things breed resentment. So in this time and age, if you do not know how to make people use technology to work and even try a bit of hybrid work schedule, such that flexible work schedule. If the person doesn't have to be in the office, and I'm not talking about direct teachers now, if there are some roles that can be played such that they're not in the office every day of the week, All those things can help with retention. I know in the education space, that might be a bit tough considering that you have to have contact with your students, you know. But how about working out something such that is a bit flexible and they can at least find a little time for themselves, work-life balance, and still be able to do one or two things to better their own lives. Because the moment you want to usurp authority over people, box them as if you now own their lives, it breeds resentment, and they will leave. Believe me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. In fact, that is actually very, very true because empathy is something that is very key that every leader must have. Like the story you shared, that even though the owner did not increase the fees, but because the owner was able to empathize and was able to understand how uh, put his herself in the position of the staff, they were able to understand and they were able to reason along. So sometimes it's not just money, it's about how heads of schools or owners of school treat their staff. So that communication is very key, very, very key. So, but when staff can see that empathy, when can see that, oh, you actually care about them, then definitely they'll be able to entrust their future. They'll be able to trust you with their future. So that's very key. So sometimes it's not just about money. So we have something here, one more in the chat. So this will be the last one. Say, I'm not a school administrator, but I just registered for this program because I love to have a vast knowledge in areas that relates to my career in case of a future purpose. Okay, it's really funny that in my school, most of the functions stated here are carried out by the head teacher and teachers. This affects us in focusing on our primary assignment. What can I do as a way of advising them about this without making them pick on me? That's the person's question. Yes. Oh, we just lost her, but I believe she will join us back. Okay, we're rounding off soon. We said 6:30. Try to keep to time. If I understand your question, are you still in the meeting? Let me see if the person that asked this question is in the meeting. That's Josephine. Okay, let's see. Okay, you are in the meeting. If I understand your question, so I'm trying to make me. So you're trying to say that those functions, those core functions of the school administrator, that the school administrator actually delegates some of those functions to teachers. Is that what you are trying to say? Oh, yes. Okay.
I lost a bit there. I guess what the person was saying that she registered because she wants to learn, but how does she pass this knowledge to the heads of schools or school leadership without them feeling slighted?
Yes.
Oh, okay. In that case, you could show them the video recording and just tell them, well, you came across this very nice video you would like to share with them, that you hope that that would actually help, that there's no end to learning, whether in the top management or lower one. But if you want to start educating them with an attitude, they will have a resistance towards you. You could just say, oh, there's this thing you came across a video, and you really, really think that it will be helpful to them. Okay, let me put on the line.
Yes. That's quite, that will really help.
So you
So
could
she had
just
just
show
made
it
a
to them.
comment
That
that that
would
would help.
help. That should be
Exactly.
able to help them.
Mm. Yeah. Definitely. Okay, one more comment here says when a work environment is toxic, staff will
And
not
from
stay.
there, because they might see
That's definitely
lots of other, yeah. From there, they might see lots of other videos that are useful and be able to pick. They will not tell you what they have learned, but you might begin to see the changes when they have learned, and you'll be better for it. True, very true. True.
yes, we are here. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
The question
I
has been
think
addressed.
the connection. Any other questions? Okay.
No, no,
Which
no.
one?
There's no other question. It has been at.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So want to say, think in the absence of further question, would like to offer a sincere gratitude for you coming to share with us this Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much. And we believe that a lot of, I mean, men as spiritual will definitely uh, learn more by getting some of the books and also taking some of those courses. They are quite insightful. They will gain value from me. Yeah, boarding house administration, da. So I know I've been a boarding house administrator. I mean, boarding house parent before, so I know it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job. So it's very good to do things from a place of knowledge rather than doing a trial and error. So when you do things from a place of knowledge, chances of success is very high than trial and error. So that's very key. So as we close, we'd like to share a final word um, with the participants as we try to round up this session.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. But please remember that just because you have a position does not mean that you're leading right. You have to invest in your learning just as much as the teachers invest in their own learning. And one of the ugly truths I've found out recently is that teachers are actually investing more in their professional development than the people leading
Administrator.
them. And
Mm.
so when they come back home with all kinds of vibrant ideas, they want to try this or try that. Now the school leaders now put a cap on them, which is not healthy. And so, but if you are learning and you're constantly developing yourself, it becomes a lot easier to accept ideas from other people around you who are also investing in their own personal and professional development. So I just want to drop that. Make yourself a lifelong learner and you'll be happy on your position.
Thank you for sharing. I'll also drop a final word by saying, uh, having attended so many leadership sessions, one of the things that stood out for me is that the pains of leadership is immediate, but the gains will definitely come later. So, because to actually carry out all of the functions that have been highlighted, you know that it's quite a lot. It's going to be demanding, and that will require us to be very intentional. And of course, true leadership is actually about not about position, as she has rightly said, it's about making places better, making people better, making things better. So let's ponder on this as we try to make a difference in our world. Thank you so much for coming on board. And if you have missed the session, I mean, any of the points, you can always watch out for the replay. So thank you so much and see you next month.
Ciao. Bye-bye.